Welcome everyone to another reviewed episode. You are on with Sotang sisters Jazz and Delia, where we talk about the TV show This Is Us. Hope y'all are caught up. It's been a couple of weeks since the last episode kind of dropped, so hopefully that gave you guys some time to catch up and be able to listen in and talk along with us.
It feels like it's been months since the last episode. I don't know, this time warp we're in.
It does feel like it's been a lot longer than just two weeks, 3 weeks.
I don't know.
It feels like it's been a lot longer than that. But I'm glad that they came back this week, and hopefully we don't have any further interruptions for the rest of the season. So when we left off, before this past week, Kevin was on his way home to his girl because she was about to give birth to these babies. Randall had just had this amazing episode where he learned all about his birth mom, and we were riding high off of that because it was a brilliant episode.
Yep.
It was great, and I loved every moment of it. And so now we switched into Kevin, and we saw, I don't know if you guys watched like the trailers or whatever leading into the episodes. I don't, so I didn't know what was coming up necessarily. But yeah, okay, let's get into it.
I mean, the trailers, okay, TV shows these days do too much. The trailer is misleading, and they try to like spin it in a way, you know, to be a cliffhanger and all this. It's like, that ain't even what happened.
Right. They do too much. I don't watch trailers at all for anything anymore because movie trailers are like 3 minutes of the entire movie. Like they show you everything. And then TV show trailers, they really try to just purposely mess with your head. Yes. And it's never what you think it's going to be.
Exactly.
So I just stay away from them for everything from now on.
I watched the Fast and Furious trailer the other day, and I thought of you from part 9 because you know that's our franchise, girl. That's but you know that trailer was like 10 minutes long.
I stopped watching it. I didn't even finish it because I was like, you just released like the major plot twist. Why are you telling me this? Can I watch the movie? I have very strong opinions about the current state of our trailers, guys. But yes, very misleading. And I think, so there was at one point where I was watching it and they kept like having him swerve around and constantly distracted. And at that point, I think they did it like 3-4 times.
Yes.
And after like the third time, I was like, okay, he's not getting into this accident. This is not going to happen the way we think it's going to happen.
Exactly. I'm like, how many times is he almost going to get into a car accident? Like either crash the car already or don't, but quit playing around. It's been, like you said, it was like 3 or 4 times. Like it was overkill. It
was way too much. After the first time, I was like, oh. The second time, I was like, oh. And then again and again and again. I was like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, it was too much. It was too much.
How do you feel though about him just dropping his job and walking out and being like, I gotta go?
I will say, for the first time, we see Kevin being selfless instead of selfish and thinking of himself first. Like finally he grew some balls and decided to go see about his woman. Like she's in labor, dude. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's basically an emergency. Like you need to leave, you know? So I was actually glad to see him do that. I was a little surprised, but I mean, you could see him struggle through it, but at least he did it.
He did it. Yeah, he made that decision. I was surprised by that too, but I'm glad he did it. I don't know what it's like in that world necessarily because I don't know. What do you do when you have a family emergency, but you're about to film this huge scene in a movie? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And the fact that they were like, yeah, well, you could come back, you know, we can get you out first thing in the morning. You know, they were trying to make concessions for him, but he was like, nah, I'm not about that. I need to go now. I need to be there when these kids come out. And I love that when we got to the crash scene and he pulled the guy out and he was talking to the guy in the car, and the guy was like, they're not even going to remember. Like, they don't remember anything before kindergarten. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And Kevin was like, he was like, my dad was just there. I just want to be there. He was like, it's not about the money. It's not about the fame. I want to be there, you know? Yeah. And I thought that was really powerful too. Because the guy was like, well, you're rich. I mean, you can give them everything that they want. And he was like, that's not what this is about for me, which that was like a real show of maturity on Kevin's part, I think.
Yeah. I feel like
I didn't hate him so much in this episode.
I feel like without Jack, he would be 100% trash. Like, that's the only thing that anchors him, is having such a great dad. But yeah, I don't know. In general, this episode was very lackluster for me. Especially coming off of, like you said, Randall's episode, which was amazing. Black writers in the room killing it.
Oh, y'all.
Right? And then we get to this. It was like, oh. So yeah, I don't know. I made it through the episode, but I was not entertained by any means. Like, it was just meh. It's okay.
And I wasn't 100% invested either.
Yeah.
Like, once I realized that they weren't going to put him in the crash, I was kind of like, all right, well, I mean, he'll get home at some point. And if like, either he'll get there and he'll be there for the babies and everything will be fine, or he won't get there and he'll miss it. And maybe we'll see, you know, that like emotional, you know, kind of struggle within himself. Right. But it still didn't, I wasn't compelled by that part. I think, honestly, the scenes I was most compelled by was when he, like, his younger self.
Yeah. The flashbacks.
You know? Yeah. The flashback with him and his dad when they were going to football camp. And then even the flashback with Jack as a kid going to baseball with his dad.
Yeah. Like
those two storylines were more compelling to me than adult Kevin's storyline.
Yeah, agreed. I always love the flashbacks, especially with Jack. I really thought he was gonna stomp that coach out in the bathroom for calling Kev stupid. I was like, please. I was like, give him the business right now. Like, just stomp him out in his bathroom, shove his head in the toilet, whatever you gotta, like, you know, just get this dude. But I mean, I still like the way they did it, because Jack is a boss anyways. He pulled up on dude and was like, are we gonna have some more problems? Are we good? Okay, don't.
Yeah. He had to do nothing. He just took like one step and then it was like, all right, I'm good. You're not gonna have no problems with your son no more.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was entertaining. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing else really stands out about this episode.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting that one moment that little Kevin and Jack had at the bar, where Jack starts to talk about his dad. And he's like, oh yeah, Dad, you never talk about your dad. You know, like, there's that. Because now that we know a little bit more about Jack's history, and like even with his brother, you know, they all thought that his brother was dead. And so I wonder if they'll bring any more of that, of those pieces of the storyline into it, you know, to kind of show what the kids knew growing up, maybe what they didn't know. You know, I felt like that was just kind of a little nugget or nod to how the kids grew up, you know, and what they knew about their family. Like, for me and my family, I didn't know much about my dad's family growing up. And it wasn't until I got to be an adult that I realized I had all these family members I never knew about, or I was hearing about different experiences that my dad had as a kid that I never knew about. And so that scene resonated with me just on like a personal level.
Yeah. I think the only other scene that really had my attention too was the fact that Beth and Randall stepped up at the end of the day to be there for her, for Kevin's girl. What's her name again? I can't even remember her name. But they step up to be there for her, and you could see she's like, oh no, it's okay, we don't have to stay on the phone. And they're like, yo, we got you. So that was pretty cool. And again, we see Randall being there for his family, even though Kevin, like, you know, blew him off in that moment. He still was there for his girl and like, yo, we got you, we family, you know. So like, seeing that was pretty cool.
And seeing that Randall is in a place where he could do that without feeling like he had to diminish himself or step outside of himself to be that support. Like, we've seen Randall, I think over the course of his life, he's always kind of had to put himself to the side and kind of, you know, cover up what he needed. You know what I mean? In order to be support for Kate, in order to be support for Kevin, in order to be support for his mom, he's always kind of taken a back seat to the three of them. Mm-hmm. And now that we've seen him make that boundary between him and his family and get what he needs as Randall, and then what he needed as his family, I think now we can see, okay, like he can step back into being that support in a different way. But there was definitely that space there. And I don't think there would have been if he was still in that place, struggling to kind of find himself. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, we'll see. I guess they mentioned Kate and the fact that her adoptive mother was having the baby at the same time, I think. So I guess maybe next week will be Kate driven and we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised. I feel like they skipped a lot of time. Yeah. Like that there's some holes in that storyline. Because like all of a sudden she's having the baby, and I swore that thing was just gonna fall to pieces right in front of everybody's face. So I don't know, maybe there's gonna be a plot twist coming up where the mom changes her mind and decides to keep the baby. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't have a good feeling about everything just going smooth from start to finish.
Yeah, me neither. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens, if they do anything with it at all. And I don't know how many episodes we have left. Like, it's just kind of all up in the air, I think, especially with COVID. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and what's the season is going to look like. So,
yeah. And I think it's weird because, you know, normally there's like the mid-season finale or whatever that shows have started doing over the past couple of years. And that's where it's like, it feels intentional to where they break up the story.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like they leave it at a cliffhanger, but you're excited to get back into the season once it comes back in the fall or spring or whatever. But this time it was obviously not planned that way. So we have this great episode with Randall and then this lackluster whack episode with Kevin. And it just feels choppy. Whereas if we didn't have this break and the season was just continuing as normal, I feel like this would have just been an episode that I coasted through and then just waited for the next week. But because it was like built up for so long, like, okay, we can't wait to see what they come back with, it just kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Did they, I don't remember if we didn't see the resolution of what happened with him getting on the plane.
No. He was trying everything he could to get that black lady guard to let him through. I'm like, bruh, your white privilege ain't gonna work this time. Just go on.
Like, sorry, dude. Like, I don't know what they're about to do, because like, how are you going to put a TSA agent in that position and then on television be like, okay, sir, go ahead. You know, like, that is not a good story.
Yeah. I don't
know what they're about to do, but I thought that was quite funny. Like, yeah, well, you know, I'm not saying I'm famous because I want special treatment. I'm saying I'm famous so you can Google me and verify my identity.
He was trying everything. But then I'm like, you could be a doppelganger. Like, you could be a celebrity lookalike and pull that off. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that look very close to other people. Like, you can't, no.
How do you verify that?
Yeah.
How do you do that? So we'll see what happens. I think he's going to make it. I don't think we're going to, you know, I think it's going to build up to something, but I think ultimately he'll be there. I think he'll make it.
Yeah, it's going to be like every other rom-com or dramatic scene where it's like he busts into the labor room right as she's cooking.
Am I late? Did I miss it? No, you didn't miss it. You're on time.
You're right on time. I need you. Yep, that's what's going to happen.
You heard it here first, folks. We need to be in the writer's room.
Exactly.
Oh, man. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying our little recap review episodes of This Is Us, please continue to listen as more episodes come out. More of our episodes will come out. So we hope that you guys are going to catch up with us and stay with us and tune in. So until next week, bye y'all.